that's a useful, productive negotiating deadline, as it were? Or do you think it's just a headache for businesses trying to think, okay, what on earth happens next?
Well, I would say it's definitely both. Everything that this administration does when it comes to negotiating tariffs is a headache, and I'm glad that they kick the can down the road as much as they do, and I hope that they at least drop sectoral tariffs from 50% down to 25%, like has been suggested when it comes to steel and aluminum and dairy goods and all of those different consumer items. But we need to figure out whether or not this administration is committed to the actual issue of affordability and lowering costs for American consumers. And this constant tit for tat with tariffs is not going to get us there. I mean, you cannot build a cheap American home without doing business with Canada on the issue of steel and lumber, of which you're going to be framing houses. You can't build a car in Michigan without parts going back and forth between Canada and Michigan multiple times over the course of producing one vehicle. They just have not been able to get over themselves on this issue.
And Brett, linking this back to the conversation we had a moment ago on the bond markets and to the conversation we had on the programme yesterday about national debt in the US, does it make any sort of sense? As Stephen was alluding to, sometimes components will cross back and forth between Canada and the US.
And Stephen, what do you make of that? The fact that President Trump has used tariffs, many have said, as a negotiating tactic, a stick in all of this. Do you think it was appropriate?
Look, tariffs can be an appropriate stick for having out a negotiation, particularly with our allies and people who we want to march with us lockstep in values. I think a good example of that is Canada and the Online News Act that came about under Trudeau. You know, this is essentially taxing a link tax on American technology and social media companies. Canadians have not seen news URLs in their social media feeds for up to 3 years. And this is an issue for American business and entrepreneurs. And so they are making this part of the trade negotiations. And this is also just a free speech, Western values issue. But the economy can endure tariffs. Like everybody's economy can endure tariffs if they are consistent, they are not petty, they're not driven by personal drama in the news cycles. But that is not what we've been getting from this administration. We've not been getting the consistency needed to actually make this work.